Welcome everyone to Madison International Speedway for today's Montgomery Ward Father's Day 200. This race is round 4 of the ARCA Short Track Challenge, sponsored by Protect Plus, an official licensee of DuPont Water and Air Filtration. Hi everyone, Ray Dunlap along with Jim Trado. So nice to have you with us here in central Wisconsin. It's a beautiful day. It's Father's Day, and our dad's so influential in getting us our love for motorsports. But Jim, today, our motto is the #1. Why is that?
There are young drivers in this field in their very first start that have a legitimate chance to win, Ray. Nicole Behar from the state of Washington is in this field. It's her very first start. There's also a young driver that's been tearing up Wisconsin, Ty Majeski. He's making his ARCA Racing Series debut here as well. So those two drivers looking for a win in their very first start. It could well happen.
They could win in their first start, but there's also a team that's been #1 in this series lately. Who's that?
Atop the points each and every week, atop the finish order is Cunningham Motorsports, a two-car effort this year. The drivers they brought here to the racetrack, point leader Chase Briscoe and veteran Will Kimmel. Both of those drivers looking for their very first win in this series. It could very well happen here today.
And guess what? One of those guys was #1 yesterday afternoon when we went pole qualifying. So for our Menards Pole Award presented by Ansel, here's Charlie Krall.
Chase Briscoe, 4 Menards Pole Awards presented by Ansel so far in 2016. We haven't seen you in victory lane. You've got those 2 laps figured out. What do we got to do to get 200 figured out here today?
You know, to be honest with you, I don't know. Hopefully we're figured out here. I think, you know, the main thing is going to be saving our general tires. This place is really aggressive on tires. So, you know, it's a real small field here today. So I think it's going to have a lot of long green flag runs. So the main thing is just going to be saving those tires and be there at the end. And hopefully we can get this big time forward in victory lane for the first time.
It is going to be really hot. I expect it to be very slick. What are you expecting in the car today? What kind of challenges will this heat present you?
You know, the main thing is just going to be staying hydrated. You know, it gets pretty hot in those race cars, so you know, you just got to do your job behind the wheel, and as far as hydrating goes, and hopefully just have a clear mind and just focus, you know, all day long. It's a little bitty place and things happen fast, so just stay focused and, like I said, just be there at the end.
Chase Briscoe starting from the pole for the 4th time in 2016. And now we're going to send it over to Ray, who is going to give us a closer look at the keys to success here today.
Well, there's a couple of keys to going fast here at Madison International Speedway, but as I watched practice yesterday, for me it's turns 1 and 2 and be able to get your left side tires right down by this yellow line. Now you have to be careful not to get off the racing surface because there's a drainage ditch here and a mud puddle right behind me. So stay on the racing track if you can, but get as low as possible. Some of the fast cars were right down on this line, other guys up here 3 or 4 feet. If you're up 3 or 4 feet, it messes up your complete exit off of turn #2, and you're liable to spin the tires, and that's no good. So here's the thing. How do you keep it down on the yellow line? Well, you've got to be perfect when you go by the flag stand. You got to let off the gas just at the right time. You got to use the perfect amount of braking. And we'll be able to keep a nice eye on it today. You know why? Because we have this camera right here, and it's locked down, and it's going to show you who the fast guys are through 1 and 2, and who are the people that just don't know how to do it right. And we've got a 3rd member of our broadcast crew today, Spencer Gallagher, and there are so many stories with these 23 cars on the grid. I want to know, who are you watching today?
I'll tell you, Ray, the guys I'm watching, #1, you got to mention Venturini Motorsports anytime you come to Madison Speedway. Since the series returned here in 2011, they've captured 3 out of 4 series wins, and the only car to break that streak, though, has been the #17 Rula Brothers machine piloted by Chris Buescher in 2012. Now, of course, you want to talk about fast cars, you got to mention the Cunningham group. You got Chase Briscoe, our current series points leader, starting up front on pole in the 77. He's going to have himself a great run today. And then you got quite possibly one of the hungriest guys in the field in Will Kimmel, the #22 machine that currently owns the track record here when it was run by Alex Bowman in 2012.
Okay, so you just mentioned 3 teams and a whole handful of drivers, so the biggest question is, who's going to win today?
I don't know, man. There's way too many fast cars out there today. I think we're going to have to race them and see what happens.
All right, that's Spencer Gallagher. He and Jim Trado and I will have the call today. Charlie Krall will be down in the pits, and he had a chance earlier to catch up with one fast driver of car number 17.
Ty Majeski has won the last 2 super late model races here in Madison, including Friday night. So you've had a lot of success here, including this weekend. Why does everybody think, though, that you are the man to watch today? Because you don't have any experience here in an ARCA Racing Series car.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience here in an ARCA car, but I have a lot of seat time here in my late model stuff. So, you know, I didn't have to come out here on practice day and learn the racetrack. I just had to get used to adapting to the different style race car. But I could argue it's not such an advantage because I have to break so many habits that I've gained in my late model stuff. The braking points are way different. This car is a lot heavier, about 200 more horsepower. The grip level is a lot different. So I have to break all those habits in order to be good here.
We saw you slip up a little bit in turn 2 in qualifying yesterday, but every other lap you were really, really good in turn 2. What is it over there that makes or breaks a lap here at Madison?
Yeah, the biggest thing is getting the thing rotated around the bottom of turn 1 and 2, keep it off that black patch that you see out of turn 2, and that's how you really get underneath people. Set them up going into 1, get underneath them out of turn 2 and down the back stretch and finish them off in 3 and 4. That's really key to getting around here, and that's why I really focused on, really want to get the car driving really good off the bottom, because I think that's going to take the win here today.
And we're going to keep a very close eye on Ty Majeski. He is starting 7th here this afternoon.
Thank you, Charlie, and what a great crowd rolling into this Madison International Speedway. We've had 8 winners so far this season. We'll see if it'll be number 9. We're getting ready to go with the Father's Day 200.
Hi, I'm Russ Davis, president of Montgomery Ward. On behalf of our company, I'd like to welcome ARCA back to the Madison International Speedway. We are very proud to sponsor the Montgomery Ward Father's Day 200. I also want to say Happy Father's Day to all the dads in the stands, as well as those watching on the American Sports Network. Please visit us online at wards.com, and let's go racing.
Well, thank you, Russ. The cars are on the grid as we get ready to go. It's the 64th season for ARCA. They go 20 events over 18 different racetracks. Today we're at Madison, and it's time for our pre-race ceremonies.
Win it there at Winchester. We're going to do it there next Sunday afternoon. And now for the most famous words in motorsports, here to give the command for this afternoon's Montgomery Ward Father's Day 200. President of Montgomery Ward, Russ Davis.
On behalf of Montgomery Ward, we just want to say Happy Father's Day to everybody in the stands and everybody that's watching on TV. Drivers, start your engines.
Thank you.
Engines are fired here at Madison International Raceway. The car's on the grid. We told you about Chase Briscoe with a lightning fast lap in Menards Pole Award qualifying presented by Ansel. Behind him it'll be Kyle Weatherman. A great front row. Crowd still rolling into this racetrack. It is a hot Sunday afternoon. Well, this is unseasonable for this part of Wisconsin.
I live in the area, Ray, and you're right. It's very warm this time of year. To have this happen mid-June, it should be about mid-70s. Great for golf, but today, a better day for racing. Spencer, this track's going to be hot and slick, isn't it?
It's going to be hot and slick. I'm from Las Vegas, though, so I don't know what you guys are going to complain about. But here at Madison International Speedway, it's a hot day. It's sunny. These tires are going to be laying a lot of rubber down, and that's going to mean a greasy racetrack. So we're going to have to see who's got the best long-run car here. That's what's going to win this race.
We saw so many guys in practice yesterday doing 7, 8, 9, 10 lap runs. Not a lot of people even know what it's going to be like if we would happen to go 50 plus.
You know, there's a difference between 10-lap runs and what tires you have. There's a heat cycle. Now, we're showing Ty Majeski here, the number 17 machine. He told me they kept one set of tires on all practice yesterday until the very end of session 2 and put on new tires to see what they would do in a qualifying simulation, a mock run. That's 50 or 60 laps on the tires, but it's nowhere near 60 straight laps. They come in the pits, they make adjustments. They can't duplicate it, but it gives them a little idea of what it is like on used tires for a short period of time.
All right, so let me set you up with a big issue here. These guys are going to have 6 tires in the pits. There's 4 on the car when they start. The crew chief's got to work their strategy, and throughout the season this year, we've seen each and every week they have a plan, but that doesn't mean that plan's going to work out. How would you set it up today, Spencer? What are you going to tell your crew chief you want to do?
And that's part of what makes this ARCA short track racing so exciting, is you are constrained to having 6 tires in the box. If I'm a driver at a place like this, I do think you still got to keep it conventional, though. This place is known for having long green flag runs towards the later part of the race, so you definitely want to make sure you have your 4 tires on by the middle of the race, but I think you got to take 2 first, or else you'll get swallowed up by the guys that are taking 4.
We had a 130 lap green flag run to end this race recently. And the crew chief said, I just wouldn't have believed it could ever happen.
And that was 15-year-old Kyle Benjamin at the time making that happen with a long run with Venturini Motorsports. Spencer, you talked about how successful they've been here. That team's floated again today. 15-year-old Christian Eckes, 18-year-old Nicole Behar making her debut with veteran Tom Hester as a 3-car effort. Lots of stories to tell you here this afternoon in Madison, Wisconsin.
Interesting layout of this racetrack. You know, when you look at it, it looks like a simple half mile, but long straightaways, tight corners. But what really surprised me was just how bumpy this racetrack is.
You know, this is an older racing surface. It's got so much character, and that's part of what makes for such great racing in this ARCA racing series. This is not a place that's smooth as a pool table where you can just lay with the gas and expect the thing to hook up. You've got to be a driver to get around here. You've got to put an eggshell under that gas pedal and make sure that you are not abusing that right rear, because just like you said, you might need to keep it under you for 130 green flag laps.
Let's talk about our starting grid today, brought to you by Montgomery Ward. As the cars are taking in a pace lap going around, we talked about Chase Briscoe with yet another Menards pole. Kyle Weatherman driving the number 98 for Mason Mitchell Motorsports. That's row number 1.
Nicole Behar, we mentioned, from the state of Washington in row 2. Will Kimmel, his first of 3 chances in the Cunningham Motorsports, 22 today.
Christian Eckes starting in the 5th spot. And next to him is going to be Josh Williams in the number 6 machine.
When we look back at our 8 different winners throughout the course of this season, only one of those entered in today's event. That is Josh Williams. So very likely that we could have another winner this season.
Matt Krzyzewski, first time here to Madison International Speedway with Ken Schrader's veteran team. He'll start 9th. Ed Pompa, the veteran out of Pennsylvania, will start 10th.
And as we show you where your favorite driver is going back through the field in today's Montgomery Ward Father's Day 200, the cars have come by the start-finish line. They're telling them, get ready to go racing. And we've got 200 laps today. As I said, we're going to have some pit strategy play out for sure. Everybody in the garage told me over the last 2 days they believe the 17 has the advantage. We heard Charlie Crawl ask him about that. I watched, obviously, the 77-22. They looked really, really good. And then ultimately, you got to ask yourself about Josh Williams, because he's always the guy that's great on a really long run.
Josh has it figured out. He's making the most with what he has, 4 full-time employees. One driver I'm going to watch, though, is a driver out of Galesburg, Illinois. We saw him on that last part of the graphics. He's starting well back in the field. The number 27 of AJ Fike. AJ has done well on short tracks and 7th last week in Michigan on the big track. Lots of depth here. Williams going for the points, perhaps more so than the victory. We'll find out.
But you know who might be a dark horse driving a dark car here, guys, we haven't talked about, is that 98 of Kyle Weatherman. He's starting on the outside pole. He's got a Mason Mitchell Motorsports machine underneath him. That's a great short track program, and Kyle is a heck of a driver making a great run this year.
You mentioned AJ Fike. They had to make an engine change. That's why he's deep in the field. They took the engine out of their Michigan car and put it in their short track car. That's how versatile these power plants are in the ARCA Ilmore 396. 1 lap to go from our flagman now, so we're getting set. The crowd has filed in here to Madison International, and it is hot, folks. I am telling you, these drivers are going to be fatigued throughout the course of today, and especially if we get some of those long green flag runs like you guys talked about.
Her early, Spencer, I'm guessing some of these drivers want to get some spacing. I talked to Kyle Weatherman. He said, I don't want to be the rabbit, but if it comes to me, I have to punish my stuff for a little while. I don't want to use it all up. How much does patience play a factor here at this half mile?
Patience is going to be a huge deal for all of these 200 laps. If I'm Kyle Weatherman, you know what I do? I slot in right behind Chase Briscoe and I hang out on his bumper. Push him just hard enough to make him abuse his stuff, and when he starts to fall off, you'll be right there to snatch up the lead.
Weatherman's been driving for Lyra Motorsports. They made a change this week. He's over at Mason Mitchell Motorsports. He's on the outside of row number 1. The field is bunching up. They're 2 by 2 as they get ready to come out of turn number 4. And the green flag is out. Chase Briscoe gets a nice start. We're underway at Madison.
Good start for Chase Briscoe, leading them down into 1. Let's see if Kyle Weatherman can hang on the outside. Gets a little tied up off. He's going to get up in the gray and lose a spot, but he's going to slide in right behind Chase.
And these guys are racing as they go through turns 3 and 4. We had one car did not get started. He's on the front stretch. That's Ed Pompa in car number 10, and they're going to throw the yellow because Pompa could not get started. And we're going to have to get a safety vehicle out there to push that number 10 out of the way.
Pompa looks like he got knocked around in the back pretty too there. There had to be some kind of mechanical failure on the start. He definitely got hit by someone else. Great call by ARCA.
Off of turn 4, his car just did not go, and the rest were trying to get around him. He starts in the 10th position. I mentioned Pennsylvania. He's out of Ballston Spa in New York, but more importantly, that's his career best qualifying effort, and something went awry. Coming to the green flag.
Yeah, never fun when you have a mechanical issue before you turn lap 1, but great call by ARCA throwing the caution immediately. That would have been seriously unsafe if they came back around in the green.
Pumpa got all the way up to the wall the best he could, but absolutely they had to make that call. So one caution out already as we've completed one lap here in our 200-miler. Charlie, do you have an update for us?
On the TED of Ed Pompa, he went to into high gear. The transmission stuck in.
We lost Charlie.
All right, sorry about that. It appears we have lost a microphone from Charlie, but we're going to take a replay look back here at what happened on the initial start. Here these guys come out of turn number 4. We see the green flag is out.
He just never gets going.
No. And it looks like it was the DK lock forward of Thomas Prater right behind him who did make that contact with the backside of the number 10, and there is some damage on that Chevrolet's rear bumper.
We bring it to the attention of Andy Hillenberg and the crew on pit road. This caution does count. Laps are starting to count. One thing to count on is Chase Briscoe still getting comfortable with this racetrack. Heaven forbid he likes the place. I talked to him yesterday. Our pole sitter and our race leader now said, I don't really know how to get around this place just yet. He went out and qualified on the pole. This young driver on short tracks has been magical this year in his rookie season.
Hopefully he can find a good, consistent run and have a great finish here today. But you know, I'll tell you, Jim, you know what an early caution like this does to you as a driver?
What?
It fries your nerves, man. You're sitting there in your cage getting ready to go while you're getting ready to start, and all of a sudden, right before you can get into any kind of rhythm, they throw the caution right back out on you, and all that adrenaline is just sitting around surging, and you just want to get going.
Show me the 22 if you can in second row.
You know, guys, we talked about Will Kimmel and what an opportunity this is for him. There may be no other driver in this series that's had a consecutive run of bad luck like Will Kimmel has in the last 5 or 6 weeks and all the way to the end of last season. I mean, this is a team that just couldn't get anything going from his own family-run team. And guess what? Now he gets a shot in a Cunningham car. Will felt pretty confident that he's going to be able to have something for those 2 guys that are in front of him as we get ready to restart here on lap number 3.
Huge opportunity for Will Kimmel. I'm sure he's going to be making the most of it today. There's no one that wants a win today more than that 22.
All right, here we go.
We hear
We're going to restart them, and let's get going for real here, boys.
All right, ready to go green once again. The big time forward to the inside, the 77 and 98 drag race down the front straightaway. Who's going to get there first? Like Weatherman's going to be in the outside line. Down to the bottom, Chase Briscoe has the preferred line, but Weatherman is going to jump ahead of him. And as we continue under green this time, Nicole Behar tries to drop down low, and she's really tight on the side of Will Kimmel, but give the lead to Kyle Weatherman on lap number 5.
That was an amazing start by Kyle Weatherman. He was side by side with Chase Briscoe coming to the green and was able to keep the momentum on the top side.
And Behar will get third spot. Veteran move by Will Kimmel to give her third position at this moment to get single file. Will was on the outside. Behar's been fast. She was here Wednesday and Thursday this week on the track with her K&N Pro Series car to get comfortable with this racetrack before the weekend. It's paying off already after a great qualifying run. Now third in that number 55 for Venturini.
Lots of black machines at the front of the field, but we take a look back at that number 17 of Ty Majeski. Potawatomi Casinos on the side of that Rulo Brothers car, and he's going to try to look down to the inside. They're going to go 3 wide down the front straightaway. Well, luckily, the 52 of Krzyzewski was able to clear that other car now way off the bottom is that 17. Man, it's nice to watch him hook that corner.
And others are taking notice, Spencer. They took notice when this young man in the 17 took the laps in practice, like watch him run. He has proven to the other teams you can make a move down the front stretch. You better have the position right, and the car will down and straighten by the time you get to turn 1.
Well, and there's no master around this track and this field like Ty Majeski. He's a guy that's won here many, many times. He's a champion in the ARCA Touring Late Model Series. Oh, careful, boys, careful. As we catch some lap traffic, that's a dangerous situation right there. They're glad they got through.
Did a nice job of going 3 wide through the center of the corner. There's Josh Williams in that Musselman's Applesauce number 6. He is tucked up right on the back side of the 25. That's Tom Hessert. And as they go down there, here's Majeski going around Ed Pompa, and again, they're 3 wide. Boy, look at this. Guess what? The 27 is already into the game. A.J. Fike is caught up to the back of Ty Majeski after starting deep in the field. He's up to 10th.
You want to talk about 2 guys that are wasting no time getting forward. Ty Majeski and A.J. Fike are both chomping at the bit right now.
But it's a matter of how hard do you bite and how fast you want to go, because it's going to cost you, won't you, if it's a long run here, Spencer?
Oh, definitely. We're not even to lap 15 yet, and these guys are going real hard. If we get a long green flag run here, some of them could be paying for it by the end of it.
You know, you were mentioning the 77 at Chase Briscoe. He has said to me just about every weekend when we get into the garage, I've got a lot to learn. And his biggest thing is about adapting to these longer races. When he's in a sprint car, what, 25, maybe a 30-lap feature? Today, 200.
Yeah, in a sprint car with a 25-lap feature, you can pretty much burn the tires off it from lap 1 to the checkered flag. But in these longer ARCA races, you've really got to learn to take an easier pace and make your tires last for a longer green flag run. Looks like he's doing a good job, though, holding steady in second position.
Used a lot of brake at Toledo, and they talked about that. Here's that shot we were talking about at the top of the show, down there in turn 1 and 2. We'll take a look at that again next time as the guys get down there, and you'll be able to see who is able to get their car right down to the inside and who is not. Now, there's some lap cars in the way this time, so it might change. There we go. The Weatherman comes off of there quickly. The number 25 of Hessert did a nice job of coming through turn that time, turn 2.
And as the laps wear on and the tires get worn, less and less cars will see peeking the left side tires on that yellow line.
Here we are, side by side, Hessert down to the inside. Williams trying to use the top of the racetrack as those two cars are tucked in right on the backside of Will Kimmel in car number 22 from Cunningham Motorsports.
Yeah, if you get someone up on your inside, you really just got to lift in the middle of the corner and let them get by. If you spend a bunch of time trying to fight them on the outside, you're just not going to win here. You're going to lose more spots than being lost.
Especially you've raced here in the ARCA Racing Series machine. You've raced late models. Ty Majeski's in his first run here to track. He knows very well, but how tempting is it, knowing, as Ty said, he's got to let out the gas earlier, roll through the corner with a heavier, more powerful race car.
Oh, it's a test of patience for sure, and we're already seeing some people's patience tested as Matt Krzyzewski's getting sideways in 3 and 4, trying to get under, be careful there, trying to get under Josh Williams.
77 and 55 with a nice battle, too. That's Nicole Bihar. She is coming up there and challenging that 77 of Chase Briscoe. Here is our leader. That's the number 98 of Kyle Weatherman, and that's the differential between first and second, only about 2 car lengths.
She's really been impressive this weekend. Very much a student of this racing. Billy Venturini, her crew chief, was on the radio continuously with her on getting around this track. She obviously knows her way around racetracks. She finished 10th last year in the Pro Series West Series.
6 inside the 22.
I'll tell you who's looking great right now, though, is that number 98 of Kyle Weatherman. That is one of the best cars through the center of the corner there is right now.
15, Christian Eckes is now pulling down pit road. That's a surprise from 11th to pit road.
Oh, that is big trouble as we are just 19 laps into this race for him to go to the pit area already. Charlie, do you have an update?
Well, they appear to be trying to race the hood of that machine.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Race here, very tight bank turns. Brakes are going to be a big issue today, especially with the warm temperatures we're facing here in Madison.
And what Charlie said was true. You know, this is this Madison International Speedway. This is one of the toughest tracks I've ever seen as a driver on race. You got to get in very straight, braking downhill, and you got to stop 3,300 pounds of ARCA Racing superstar. As we see the 55 making the pass.
Oh, the 77 got just a little high in the center of the corn. Briscoe goes up, and he's going to lose 2 spots as Nicole goes by him, and also Tom Hessert. So there he goes back to the bottom to try to do the crossover move, but 2 spots lost for Chase Briscoe.
Great racing here among a lot of cars that are a bit off the pace just yet.
Nicole Bihar there, and we need to take a quick break. We'll be back with more ARCA racing from Madison. Welcome back to Madison International Speedway. You're watching the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards right here on American Sports Network. We had our very first caution on lap 1, and now we are under caution for the second time as we had a spin over in turn number 2. Number 64 rolling through there, no contact for sure, but it looks like Mike Seneca just got her a little bit loose, looped around. Luckily, he didn't hit the wall.
Dixon Motorsports teammate Rick Tackman to the bottom. Did not appear to be any contact, just got loose and went around to bring out this caution.
So yellow flag is back out, and we did get a report again from Charlie about the fact that Christian Eckes was into the pit area working on a brake problem. So obviously that has put him in a bad position as he has rejoined the field in 16th position. Right now, after the first couple of laps where Chase Briscoe was out front, the number 98 of Kyle Weatherman took over the lead. And now Briscoe has dropped back in the field. He is currently running in 7th position.
And that just shows you how quickly you can be headed backwards at a place like Madison International Speedway. You know, this is a classic stock car short track. It's one groove around the bottom, and if you put one toe out of place, you can find yourself losing 5, 6, even 7 spots in a hurry.
And the interesting thing was he got up into the second groove, and it was just for a second, and he looked like he was going to be able to pop it back down there, but before you know it, Tom Hessert was inside him and took that spot away.
6th in points, Tommy Prater down pit road. Thomas Prater down pit road. Again, he was the car that was involved in that lap 1 incident. The nose of his car met the back end of Ed Pompa's no-go car at the start. Checking that over. This is interesting. The 77 of Briscoe is their fast qualifier. He's drifted back now. His teammate is the number 22, Will Kimmel. Literally, since Chase Briscoe said, I want to go ARCA racing, Will Kimmel has sat down next to him, gone through sessions, helped educate him. He was on the pit box last week with Chase on the radio. This may be a learning lesson for Chase, knowing his car is not handling correctly. Will ultimately could be a reporter, if you will, to the team saying Chase is doing this in the corner, tell him to back this up. Will is so much wanting to help this young driver. That has been part of the equation of why Will Kimmel's in this number 22 machine here as his teammate.
Two drivers that are good friends, and an opportunity for Will Kimmel to get into a really good piece of equipment.
Thank you.
We're under caution here at Madison International Raceway. You're watching the Montgomery Ward Father Days 200, and we'll be back with more after this right here on ASN. Hope you're having a wonderful Father's Day today, and so nice to have you with us here at Madison International Raceway. We've got ourselves a nice start here to the race today, 33 laps completed of the 200. We want to go back down trackside and get another update from Charlie Krall.
Kyle Weatherman reporting into crew chief Mason Mitchell that the 98 car just a tick tight right now. They were thinking about coming down to take 2 tires, but Mason decided just a little bit too early in the race just now. Also had an update on the 77 of our pole sitter Chase Briscoe. That very tight right now. That's why he has dropped back to the pack. Also saying that a lot of those drivers up near the front want to race a little harder than he's wanting to go this early in the race.
Well, that's an interesting thought. You know, the bottom line here is this is a, you know, you're going to have strategy involved. You're going to have tire management. Josh Williams told me in the garage that he's only going to push it about 65% in the first 100 laps, make some tire changes, and then go harder. So obviously these guys no idea when that first pit stop's going to be, but the crew chiefs certainly don't want to bring them down here to put tires on this early, right?
No, it's just a shade early for that. We're only to lap 33 right now, 200 lap race. It would be a waste right now to put your right sides or even your forward tires on. That just wouldn't make any sense.
One thing unique about this racetrack is as the laps go on, as we saw that yellow line on the bottom of the racetrack in turns 1 and 2, the drivers have to find a way to handle what they're dealt with until they get a chance to pit. And then the critical moment is, what do I need to change? Because it's been a long time since I had tires that were any good underneath my race car.
Yeah,
that's all part of the plan, and I think that's where veteran teams and asking their drivers continuously, under this caution, what do you need? What's the car doing now? So in 30 more laps, now we have 60 laps on the tires to work from with the knowledge of what to change.
We'll talk about short track racing. We go to Nashville, and the crew chiefs say, look, we're gonna want to put on 4 tires later. We're gonna save them. A couple of guys put on 4 tires early. We went a long green flag lap, or a whole long green flag run, and the guys didn't get to use those other 4 tires. Then we go to the next short track race, and the strategy was exactly the opposite.
Yeah, it's crazy when you put those 4 tires on. It's a matter of how much faster is it? And the great General tire they brought here to Madison International Speedway once again is proving very worthwhile. The lap times, the race pace we thought would be around 20 seconds a lap. It's been a little bit better than that. And these guys are flying around this half mile.
And these General tires are great short track tires. Lots of fall off, great rubber lay down. This is really makes for great racing.
Nicole Bihar has worked her way all the way up to second, driving for Venturini's in car number 55. And for more, back to Charlie.
Nicole Bihar making her ARCA Racing Series debut here this weekend, looking to become the 7th driver for Venturini Motorsports to win in her ARCA Racing Series debut. Right now, she says that car is really good. She's waiting for this race to go back green so she can try to put some pressure on our leader, Kyle Weatherman, and jump out and lead some laps here in the early going.
Nicole came here with her father, bringing that K&N car all the way from Washington. Well, they also brought a super late model race car, which is a lot different, lower slung, wider tires. They had a regular super late model special here Friday evening. She competed in that race, but she had mechanical issues with the suspension, Spencer. You're a West Coast guy. She's running up and down the West Coast in a super late. This track is different because it's a Midwestern track, but why was her equipment perhaps breaking? The right front hub, the rear panhard bar broke free from the suspension components.
You know, sometimes when you have to travel all that way, you know, sometimes things just slip through the cracks with safety and equipment checks, and sometimes you just get unlucky as a driver. She could just, you know, the racing gods might have decided that it wasn't her weekend to run that race, so it's unfortunate she had this mechanical problems.
Bihar was in the NASCAR Next class back in 2015, but also keep in mind that she had a second place finish in the K&M Pro Series West, and just ready to go for that first win, and maybe it could be today. Looks like they have a very fast Venturini race car in the number 55 for her. So these guys getting ready to go back to racing here now. We see the ARCA flagman giving them 1 lap to go, and we'll get them back to green flag racing.
Rutherford had a nice lead. He continues to lead this race, but keep in mind the last restart, he started on the outside and used that banking 1 and 2 to his advantage. We'll see what he does now down on the bottom here on this restart.
Weatherman down to the inside. Bihar on the outside of row number 1. It'll be Tommy Hessert in car number 25 to the bottom of row number 2. Josh Williams will be on the outside. Then Ty Majeski and our pole setter, Chase Briscoe. That's your front 6 runners as we get ready to go back to racing at Madison, Wisconsin.
Hessert has the most laps here in the ARCA racing competition since 2011. Took last year off, but in those consecutive races, Hessert really has a good notebook mentally of how to manage this race here today at Madison, as he's had, I don't know, almost probably every lap, a 2 or 3 completed here in those 5 races we've run.
Look how tight they get as we get ready to go back to racing. 2 by 2 once again, and through the restart zone. Looks like Kyle Weatherman gets a nice run. Bihar to the high side, and her teammate Tom Hessert trying to put pressure on down to the low side in car number 25. They're side by side. Nicole slips a little bit, and Josh Williams says, I don't want anything part of 3 wide.
He thought about it for a second, but discretion is the better part of valor. There's, we got a spin. Careful, Nicole.
Maybe.
Majeski.
Not really, though. She got it completely sideways, but after that, she was able to save it, and it wasn't a complete spin. So Nicole Bihar goes from 2nd place on the restart, gets in trouble in turns 3 and 4, and now has dropped back significantly.
There's Ty Majeski on the outside. He's a guy that could very well benefit from this restart, but he has got to get either in front of or behind Chase Briscoe and get down. The top group of this racetrack is a no-win situation.
2 things came to play there. Majeski's used to racing here without the white wall separating pit road from the racetrack. Down in turns 3 and 4, that wall's generally not there when he races Super Late Model Special. That wall was close on the inside for him, but also Bihar's car turning down in the corner caused the issue as well.
Well, the good news, we were able to stay under green. Nicole Bihar obviously lost lots of spots, but after getting sideways about 45 degrees, she saved it and did a nice job. There's the Cunningham cars running in position. 77 Briscoe, our pole sitter, Will Kimmel, and they're racing for 5th position.
Good job here by Chase. You see his corner entry. The car's still a bit jittery on entry, if you will. If he's stabbing the brakes, a lot of load to the front end. The back's getting a little bit loose there.
It looks like he is using a lot of brake getting in, and then you don't want to be loose in a place like this. If you can't turn the wheel getting down the hill, you're never going to get to the center well.
There's a big time for the number 77, 21-year-old Chase Briscoe. He said, man, I love this place. It was covered in dirt. Well, I say he's doing okay learning how to race around here on pavement.
He's doing well.
52, Kurziewski trying to get a part of this battle right now as these 2 Cunningham cars continue to run. You know, it was funny because Chase Briscoe told me his car was really plowing through the corner in the first couple of runs in practice. Will Kimmel said his was very loose off, so I went to the crew chiefs and I said, how are they set up? He said, almost identical.
And that shows you how much a difference a driver can make. You know, if you do just the littlest thing different behind the wheel, that changes the car completely.
What's going on with the 55, Charlie?
Nicole Bihar restarted up near the front, went down into turn number 3 on that first green flag lap. Reported back to Billy Venturini, that car got really loose. She had to woe it down. They made a little contact there with the 17. She's going to take a couple of laps, get her bearings back, get back in her race before they can event.
All right, thank you, Charlie. So obviously going from 2nd position, losing a lot of laps, that's going to take her a while to get it back going in the right direction. So the 98 of Weatherman still in 1st position. We see them as they roll down into turn 1 and 2. Now the differential between him and Tom Hessert is about 5 car lengths from Hessert. Then we go back and it's going to be Josh Williams running in third position.
Those two Cunningham teammates still going at it. It does look like for the moment that Will Kimmel's got a little bit better car than Chase Briscoe. Chase just seems kind of tight in the middle of the corner. He's having to wait on the front tires. Eventually, though, around a place like this, tight to the center starts to develop a loose off, and that's where you can really start losing positions.
So Mike Seneca going behind the wall, number 64, Hickson Construction Chevrolet. This pace is really getting back to it again, guys.
Definitely is, and Kyle Weatherman up front is maintaining a really good lead, starting to stretch that lead on Tom Hessert. I'm here to tell you, boys, that 98 Mason Mitchell Motorsports machine is strolling right now. That thing is beautiful in the middle of the corner.
Week in, week out, doesn't matter who's driving one of those cars. When you go to the racetrack, you look at 98 and you say they're going to have a shot to win. And remember, Gus Dean picked up the win driving for this team in Talladega, so those guys really do have it going on.
Supremely talented kid, Mason Mitchell, both behind the wheel and on the box.
And Noah Gregson won last night in the K&N Pro Series West. He ran for this team at Pocono Raceway, so they're getting a lot of great looks with some really strong young talents here coming to the ARCA Racing Series.
Weatherman just looks like he can roll through the center of the corner with absolute ease. Look at this. Looks like he doesn't even have to turn the steering wheel on that car. Not tight at all coming off the corner. Looks like it's on a rail, Spencer.
And you know the thing, Ray? He is rolling through the corner with absolute ease. When you've got a car like this as a driver, you barely have to drive it at all. It does so much of the work itself, and that's what makes these cars a true joy when they're set up right.
Well, I like that look, guys. We saw them through turns 1 and 2 there.
Let's do that lockdown camera again. We'll let the field roll through here for just a second, right? Okay, take that shot. There he goes. Through 2, looks like a real nice run for Hessert, but he was almost through the mud puddle that time, and Ty Majeski obviously does a nice job. Now look at the 52. Here's another spot where he was almost a whole lane up, so a couple of guys there. Looks like the 42 too high in that corner.
Madison Speedway is a place where being 4 inches off the bottom in the wrong spot of the track can easily be 3-4 tenths, almost half a second if you don't hit it quite right. So being able to hook your left front around that yellow line is crucial to making a fast lap here.
Kyle Weatherman told me yesterday, he said, you don't have to worry about cutting grass here for a week or so in turns 1 and 2. I'm cutting the grass every chance I get on that left side coming down through that corner. Look how close he still remains to the bottom.
That's a beautiful car rolling through the center right there. He is executing perfectly right now, Kyle Weatherman.
Looks like a pleasure to drive for sure, as we've gone 1/4 of the way through our Montgomery Ward 200 today. Again, nice to have you with us on Father's Day. Guys, when did you go to the racetrack the first time with your father?
I remember it very distinctly. I was about 7 or 8 years old, and my father took me out to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We watched the legends go by on the road course, and it sounded like the angriest swarm of bees you ever heard, and I knew from right then and there I wanted to be here.
Jim, how about
I had
you?
the pleasure of going to see my dad's first cousin race at dirt track, and that car was housed at my dad's auto repair shop in the front yard of our house, so I got to stare at that car, and the first chance I got, I'd say I was about 4 or 5, going to the dirt track. My cousin Wally Benning didn't qualify that well, so he had to run the last race of that last night. I tell you, I could not get away from that track from that day forward. The first time I went, I was hooked.
I went to Midvale Speedway in East Central Ohio with my father when I was 5 or 6 years old. And I said, I really like the looks of those late model cars. And boy, did they put on a good show. So all of us been in motorsports a big portion of our life. And again, so much thanks to all of our dads.
You know, guys, the number 98 is strolling out front, but you know who seems to be starting to struggle a little bit is Tom Hessert in the 25. Josh Williams in that number 6 machine is really starting to close that gap over these last 5 or 6 laps, so we can see a pass for second place.
And guess what? Majeski started 7th today, and he is on a run. He is up to 4th position right now for that Rouleau Brothers Potawatomi number 17. So Majeski's starting to work his way up through the field, and he's not very far at all behind Josh Williams.
And the newness for this young driver out of Wisconsin, he's a Roush Fenway Racing Development driver, but he also has a spotter in his ear for the first time, does Ty Majeski. It's Billy Gerhardt, Bobby Gerhardt's brothers. He's always had his father, Brad Majeski, in his head. This is a different deal. I talked to Brad before the race. I said, are you going to be on the headset? He said, no, my job is to watch and encourage my son. This is a Rouleau Brothers racing effort with a lot of Roush Fenway Racing influence.
Guess what? Rouleau Brothers have 36 career wins in this series with an awful long list of drivers over the years. So these guys know what they're doing. They're out of the Chicagoland area. And here we go. Josh Williams is going to try to go to the inside of Tom Hessert. Looks like the 6 car has a nice run off of the bottom, and he is down to the inside. Give the Musselman's Applesauce car number 6 the position if they can make it by at Pampa, and they do.
Christmas card from Josh Williams to Tom Hessert for letting him in on that one. That would have been really tight.
But this is putting a smile on Ty Majeski's face as these two are battling here, because he is just getting an opportunity to pounce.
And don't forget that Josh Williams is our short track challenge leader. Brought to you by DuPont Oil, Air, and Water Filters.
Protect Plus is a authorized distributor of them. You can find them at Menards. Great filtration system. They jumped on board to support a series within a series. All the short tracks on the schedule represented in their own championship, if you will. Weatherman won it last year. Points are traveled on tracks a mile or less in length, including the 2 dirt miles. Right now, Williams on top of that, based upon the strength of his run at Nashville and the other short tracks we've run this year, Salem, Toledo, and now here at Madison.
Obviously a win at Nashville for Josh Williams, and again, that was another one of those long green flag deals. We've had a nice long green run here right now, and that has taken Josh Williams all the way from the 6th qualifying position up into 2nd today here at Madison.
Nice run by Josh. This car, they raced at Nashville and won with. They also raced it at Salem, but it's also the same power plant that he raced at Daytona and every race this season since. Same motor, ARCA Ilmor 396 and Josh Williams Chevrolet. That motor has been useful throughout the entire season. That's saving the teams a ton of money.
Charlie, what you got on Josh Williams in the car 16?
Just talked to Danny Williams, crew chief for Josh Williams. He said that that car was down 85 horsepower when they got there. But as this track warms up and slicks up, that lack of horsepower could come to their advantage as the tires start to go away. Some of these cars with the new Ilmor 396 power plants.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to keep our eye on tire wear today and tire management.
We're about 30 laps under green here into this run, so these tires are really starting to feel the heat. If you're a driver right now, you've got all your blowers on, your brake blowers, your bead blowers, and you are in tire management mode. You're trying to be as aggressive as you can, but you know you got to pace yourself because you might have to run these things for another 100 laps.
Here's a look at those point standings we were talking about from Protect Plus. Krzyzewski won the Super Speedway Challenge a year ago, which is brought to you by General Tire, and he's having a nice run on short tracks. But again, Josh Williams is able to tally the most points so far as we are coming up on the halfway point of the season here in ARCA.
Guys, I hate to stress you, but I think I just saw Will Kimmel trying to pull into the pits and missed. Something may be wrong with the 22 Cunningham machine.
22 on the backstretch, and he is definitely slowing down. We'll see what he does this time. He is not going to the pits, but off the pace, and he's about to go a lap down, and he does as Kyle Weatherman goes by Will Kimmel. I have talked about opportunity. I thought today Will would be a favorite to win. So Charlie, what is going on with the car 22?
Will Kimmel reporting front brake trouble on the number 22. Had a chance to talk to him right before he climbed in the car. He said, if we have any luck at all, it will be a big change. My luck has been bad every time I have been in this car. He was looking for a good break here today. Unfortunately for Will, front brake problems as the crew goes to the right side of that automobile. They're going to swap 2 tires out, fill it up with Sunoco fuel, but a very tough break for Will Kimmel in the number 22 car.
Boy, they just can't buy any good luck for sure, and the pit under green here going to lose at least 2 laps. So he would need some kind of a miracle. We'd need a couple of cautions and him an opportunity to take the wave around. Or
terrible to see this. This is disastrous for Will Kimmel, to say the least. But guys, I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is the hardest track I've ever been to as a race car driver on your brakes. You have got to be so conservative not to overcook them. You've got a big run down the straightaway. You've got to stop and get 3,300 pounds of ARCA Racing Series car parts while you're going downhill. So very tough challenge on the brakes.
And that's making me wonder about his teammate too, because the number 77 of Briscoe appears to be having a little bit of problems in the corner, and he's back in 5th position after winning our Menards pole presented by Ansel.
Chase is definitely looking like he's a little slower through the dead center of the corner than a lot of other cars in the racetrack, and that points to a tight condition which a lot of times can be caused by excessive braking.
1-2 back on.
22, Will Kimmel's coming back down pit road, now continues past his crew, perhaps a penalty for on pit road. He's now strolling by on pit road speed.
When it rains, it pours, and it has been a flood for Will Kimmel when we talk about the end of last season and 2016. So Kimmel out of the running today. Right now, Weatherman picking him up and laying him down here at the Montgomery Ward Father's Day 200. One hot Sunday afternoon here at Madison International Speedway. Charlie Krall has the action from the pit. Spencer Gallagher, Jim Trado, and I'm Ray Dunlap. Thanks for joining us here on American Sports Network. We have had a long green flag run here at Madison, and right now Kyle Weatherman just has a car that can go just about anywhere. Josh Williams starting to close that differential a little bit between him, but after second place, now we have a much bigger gap back to the 17 of Ty Majeski. So just a lightning fast pace that Weatherman is setting.
Guys, right now Kyle Weatherman is decimating this field. We've already lapped almost up to sixth place. We've got 7 cars in the lead lap right now. He is putting down such a blistering pace. If anybody's going to catch this kid, they're going to need a caution to do it.
And he will need that caution as well as every other car in the lead lap. They'll get the first chance to come to pit road as the lead lap cars. But as well as his car's running, I'm sure they're still going to try to make a change. They must make a pit stop by ARCA rule book within 10 laps of the finish. So if this continues to click away at this pace, they've got to come to pit road. May not be for fuel, but mandatory by rule. Within 10 laps of the finish, each competitor must make a pit stop on pit road.
We had our first caution on lap 1. Ed Pompa could not get his car going, and that stalled us out right away. Then we've had one single car spin. That was at lap 27, and now we are heading close to the halfway point of this 200 lapper today here at Madison, and it is just amazing to think about this pace. It won't be long before the 98 of Weatherman is going to catch AJ Fike and Matt Krzyzewski, those guys running in 7th and 8th.
And if you're AJ Fike and Matt Krzyzewski, I promise you right now, you're seeing pieces of race car out on the track. There's still something shiny going into 3. Anything you can do to get a caution, because you do not want to go a lap down.
Drivers would never take a piece of the roll bar off their roll bar.
No, that's never happened. Why would they do that? No.
Might be a thought right now coming real hard for Fike and Krzyzewski in that bright yellow car.
Sorry, Jim, didn't mean to interrupt, but interesting circumstance for Weatherman. You know, he was part of Cunningham Motorsports. They had a good run going on over there. He was real happy with that. Then Roush Fenway said, we're going to make a little change. They went over to Lyra Motorsports, and Lyra not in competition this weekend, so they weren't quite sure where it was going to be. And Mason Mitchell called up and said, hey, look, you're still right there in the points. Let's try to go after this thing. And here they are with a dominant car on the half mile today here in Wisconsin.
Mason Mitchell Motorsports, the owners of this number 98. Mason's the 2014 champion. He's still just 21, 22 years of age. This young man has been able each and every time the ARCA Racing Series comes to a racetrack to get the right driver and the right equipment prepared. But they've also tapped into a spotter that's probably seen more races here since Dick Trickle ran here, and Joe Shear and Mark and Rusty Ross back today. Ken Noyce is the spotter du jour for Mason Mitchell Motorsports here today, helping Weatherman through the traffic. He's been here a ton of years.
Only a Wisconsin racing knucklehead like you could possibly know all that.
That helps to stand by the tech line. People want to talk to you. I like to talk to people. Come on.
Well, there is an incredible history here at this racetrack. You know, we look back, Travis Quapple, a late model champion here, Matt Kenseth, also Robbie Reiser. Obviously, Joe Shear Sr. won so many championships and races at this track over the years. A lot of really big names have raced through Madison International Raceway on their way to try to go move into NASCAR.
Guys, we've got a battle here from 4th through 6th. The 2 Venturini cars in the 77 of Chase Briscoe. Chase is struggling a little bit right now. Looks like he's backing up to him, but Tom Hessert's got to execute that pass. He's going to be finding himself eaten up by his teammate Nicole Behar. She's coming with a vengeance.
And Nicole up to 6th. Remember, they had that scrum. She and Ty Majeski. Both those youngsters are very, very impressive today. We talked about maybe their chance to win in their first start. They're still very much in contention here, 5 laps shy of halfway.
You know, Briscoe's numbers are so incredible throughout the course of this season. A 16th place run at Salem was not very good, but other than that, top 10s in every race, and that's obviously why he's at the point lead here in the ARCA Racing Series.
The
Looks like Nicole's taking a peek, but just can't get the entry speed right there to get by Tom Hessert. But she is the quicker car right now, and she may well find her way around him eventually.
And this is a one-race audition opportunity. Toyota Racing Development saw her finish second at Irwindale Speedway last year and said, we need to give this young driver a chance. She moved to North Carolina in January to do some late model racing with David Gilliland and his development team. That has gone away, so this is really a rare and special opportunity she's making the most of, which could be a one-shot deal in the ARCA Racing Series.
And she takes that position away from Tom Hessert, so move her up. But remember how sideways that race car was in turn number 4. We thought it was a complete spin. She saved it, but that had to have an adverse effect on her tires.
Definitely. A right rear never likes it when you put it 45 degrees sideways, but it seems that since then, Nicole's done a really good job of conserving her equipment. Looks like she's got a good car under a running P5, really putting the moves on Tom Hessert right there.
So we're coming up on halfway this time, so we've got that. And it is a lightning fast pace that these guys are setting after we had 2 early cautions today in the Montgomery Ward Father's Day 200. Here's our HERS mid-race recap. Only 2 leaders, 2 cautions, and that lead change only changed once. The 77 on the pole, that big time Ford. But early on, it was Weatherman who was able to take that position, and boom, he has been out front and setting a torrid pace, as now he is going by Tom Hessert, and that is for 6th position. Hessert's dropped back a little bit, but now he's a lap down. And Weatherman, would it be possible that we stay under green and for him to lap the field here today? I can't even imagine when we saw that last.
Guys, Kyle Weatherman, he may not get the whole field, but he's going to try today. This is a career day for that young man in the 98. He is showing that he is among the best drivers in the ARCA Racing Series right now. He is putting a hurting on the entire field.
Well, absolutely, you are right. We've got a report that the 9 car from Thomas Prater is smoking a little bit. For more on that, back to Charlie.
Thomas Prater has been having a pretty solid run here this afternoon. He's up in the 9th position. Some smoke starting to come out of the back end of that automobile. He's been watching the water temperature slowly rise. You see the damage on the nose of that machine. He picked that up at the initial start of the race, and they've been keeping a close eye on that water temperature ever since.
Well, thank you, Charlie. Obviously something they'll want to monitor very closely.
As a driver, you keep a very close eye on that water temperature needle. If something is disrupting the airflow to that radiator, you can pop a motor in a heartbeat. And you know, for an underfunded team like that, that'd be a big blow. So Moose is definitely going to want to keep an eye on his water temperature there.
Lots of traffic ahead here.
And
so
guys,
you have to take it off cruise control for a minute here, guys, and we're negotiating some traffic, does that race leader in the 98.
And guys, late in a long green flag run, this is where it gets tough as a leader. You're passing these cars per the ARCA rules. The lap down cars have to stay to the bottom. And in that outside lane, it gets so greasy, so slick. Oh, we got a spinner off in the backstretch.
One more time, the yellow will come out here for the 3rd time.
Lap 108.
Well, now you got to put your crew chief hat on, guys. What are you going to do here? With this kind of long green flag run, you got to wonder, are we going to have 2 pit stops before this thing's over, or will this be it?
That's a tough question, Ray. If you're a crew chief right now, you're in a real bind, because this race is showing every indication of possibly going green the rest of the way. And the smart move then is to put your 4 tires on. But if we have one more caution after this and someone takes rights, they can come in, put their 4 tires on, and they will eat your lunch for the rest of the race.
It's a calculated move here. 5 cars on the lead lap will get their first chance to come to pit road as Con Nicolopoulos has spun the GreatRailings.com number 06 machine to bring out this just the 3rd caution, but a much needed one by these competitors.
Well, it looked like we might just go green forever, but Con Nicolopoulos' spin has changed that, so that'll allow Josh Williams to get right up here. And the ARCA Racing Series officials have said the pit area is open, so Charlie will be there when Weatherman comes down, so he'll have an eye to see what happens between Weatherman and Josh Williams in car number 6. So let's go back down to the pit area.
He's going, he's talking.
Well, Apparently we have a microphone issue once again for Charlie, but we see
Josh Williams, as we turn over and watch Shep on the left side of the number 6, a little slow on the jacks on the left side, as now they get the car up. They're bolting the 4 General tires on. Josh Williams is down and away.
So the number 6 will be able to get out once again right behind number 98. Nicole Bihar also on the pit road getting some service done. We see Ty Majeski came down to put 4 tires on his number 17.
Guys, interesting strategy call. Looks like about everybody took 4 of the competitive cars. So clearly the crew chiefs are thinking, you know, we've seen one long green flag run. We may well see another here. It's time to put our 4 on and make our bed.
And what you have to notice is, with that move of all 4, these crew chiefs are saying, we may not have another chance to come to pit road. If we do, we'll put 2 on. With 5 cars in the battle, if you will, and a lucky dog coming, so 6 cars on lead lap, what we're going to find is they're going to play strategy games. If there's another caution or 2, I hear time and again as a pit reporter and covering this series, if the leader comes, we come. Well, guess what? They are down to now a 6-player chess match to the next caution, and we'll see what happens from there. The changes they made here, Ray, this is critical. We saw Ross Kenseth in his ARCA debut lead from the pole, made 1 pit stop, made an adjustment, and he is still kicking himself in the tail because he made an adjustment based upon how the car felt at the end of a long run, rather than what he would have for the rest of the race, and he drifted back to the top 5.
So we've made it past the halfway point today here at Madison International Raceway. Glad to have you with us on American Sports Network. Kyle Weatherman continues to lead the Montgomery Ward's Father's Day 200. Caution came out on lap 108, and that set up a strategy call for the crew chiefs down on pit road. What strategy do you go with? 2 tires or 4? They've made that bet, and we'll see how it plays out in the later stages of today's race. Now, Scott Brands is the sponsor of our Rookie Spotlight, and today we talked about this young driver making her debut, Nicole Bihar in number 55.
Again, ran a full K&N Pro Series West Series last year, just turned 18 years of age, but she's only been in a late model for 4 years. At age 14, she ran late models, which are smaller, skinnier tires, 2-barrel carburetors. She made the jump to super late model racing, a lot more speed, and she's paying off here. She's making the most of this. Getting inside of Tom Hester, yeah, a little bit of contact there. Hester might have let him up, but she has done a very, very impressive job staying on the bottom, maintaining speed, and not let that car drift up off the racetrack, which is so common among young drivers that are going in the corner way too deep.
It's been an up and down day for Nicole Bihar. She started strong, had a little bobble towards the middle of that run, got back there, but she showed some good speed and good consistency, and look where it's rewarded her with a 3rd place starting spot. 2nd row inside, you could be in a lot worse places, getting ready to go back green.
And she'll get a chance to watch as Kyle Weatherman does his restart to the high side of row number 2. It's Wisconsin's own Ty Majeski driving for the Rouleau brothers. Can he get a win in his first ever career start? We'll find out. Both of those drivers making their debut today. And Josh Williams gets a nice restart. He's on the high side with a little bit of momentum, trying to take it away. And Weatherman gets slightly sideways, changes the lead this time on lap 114.
Fantastic start by Josh Williams. He did everything he needed to. Got Weatherman clear, getting into 1, and put Josh Williams to the point. Great effort by that Musselman Chevy.
Nice run by Matt Krzyzewski there in the 52, driving for Ken Schrader Racing. He had a run on Bihar, uses his momentum off at turn number 4. I think he finally found a groove on the high side that he likes, and that'll give Matt Krzyzewski 4th place over Nicole.
You know, it's interesting, guys. With 4 new tires, you can make that top groove work for just a couple of laps, but you got to get it done quickly.
And Weatherman on the new tires, he said yesterday when he tried new tires, he said, I think I have a car that's better on the longer run. I may be 3 or 4 tenths off. This was yesterday, keep in mind. He has a car that he thinks will come in with tires under wear. So this new tire, didn't agree with him yesterday, being a new set of generals in practice. So perhaps it's not a big adjustment. They expected something like this, perhaps, in the number 98 camp. Hey, let's not set the world on fire at the first 2 or 3 laps. That car came in nicely to lead all those laps up to this halfway point in the race.
Well, I'll tell you guys who's starting to hunt is the number 17, Ty Majeski, taking a look under Weatherman for 2nd.
Here he goes down into turn number 1, and check this out as he's able to hug that bottom line, and he hooks it, and he's going by Weatherman. So a change for the lead, and now a change for 2nd place as Majeski has gone by the number 98, curious to find out if there's any problems for Weatherman or if he's just being patient on how hard he runs the tires.
There's 81 laps left in this race. I believe he's on a pace that he's now being able to set, knowing how strong his car is.
More on the 17, back to the pits and Charlie Crawl.
Going, they've been playing it very conservative throughout the first half of this race. Now that we are down into the second half and Ty is up front, look for him to get a lot more aggressive as the laps wind down.
I would believe that to be the case. No question about it. Josh Williams took over the lead from the 98 of Kyle Weatherman, but right now the differential from first to second is shrinking, folks. It is definitely changing, and Majeski has got a strong pace in second place. This time we want to try to follow our leader as they go down into turns 1 and 2. The next time by, we'll take a look at our lockdown camera and see what they look like in turns 1 and 2. Here goes Williams. He's up high, and check out how low that 17 comes off of turn number 2.
Man, oh man, Josh Williams can't do that too many more times, or he is going to have Ty Majeski right on his back bumper. You know, Ty's a hometown boy, and he is not going to have a lot of patience getting to the lead here.
So we'll watch that corner as Josh Williams this time is able to loop down there a lot better. So that time through turn number 2, he said, I'm not going to let that happen.
Another key element of seeing that and how it develops, Ty Majeski told us, and he's living true to his own words, off of turn number 2, there's a little patch on the racetrack. It's about 8 feet long by 2 feet wide. It's kind of separating the grooves of 1 and 2. Well, as you exit turn number 2, he wants to be below that patch right there. We can see it in the frame. Other drivers are able to straddle that, but as he gets to the bottom of that, other teams are taking notice. That's the Majeski line he wants to keep.
It's fast for sure, and that differential down to less than half a second now as the Rouleau brothers, number 17, trying to chase down Josh Williams, the only driver in this field that already has a win in 2016. We've had 8 races in the ARCA Racing Series, 8 different winners, and a number of those first-time winners.
Seems like Josh Williams is doing
Yeah.
Seems like Josh is doing a good job of holding that lead, but Ty Majeski is chipping away at him about a 1/10 a lap right here. So expect the battle for the lead to start heating up within 10 or so laps here.
Majeski's a Roush Fenway Racing development driver, signed on at the beginning of the year. He's also the NASCAR Next class of 2016. Although he does not have a NASCAR opportunity as of yet lined up or publicized, he's hoping to do more than just this race with the Rouleau brothers. Now, Rouleau brothers have a direct tie to Roush Fenway Racing. They get used pit equipment. They get chassis from Roush Fenway Racing. They're a Chicago and North Carolina-based team. Gary and Russ Rouleau have really done a great job in developing young talents like Chris Buescher, to name one, that has gone on to win a NASCAR Xfinity Series championship and now racing for Rookie of the Year on the Sprint Cup level.
This is a nice battle there as those guys go by, and that's the differential now back to Weatherman in that number 98. Look at this, there's going to be some lap traffic in the way, and that differential now is shrunk down to almost zeros. Majeski is right there on the rear bumper of Josh Williams as they go through the corner, but neither of them will get the preferred line off of turn number 2 as the number 9 car of Thomas Prater rolled through the bottom.
Right now, this is a game of which driver is better able to negotiate that lap traffic. If Josh Williams plays his car right, he can break Ty Majeski's momentum and buy himself a little more time to keep his lead.
And every fan that is a fan of Ty Majeski, which there's quite a few here, are inching closer and closer to the front edge of their seats. They are excited to see this young man challenge for the lead here in Madison in his ARCA Racing Series debut.
I mean, this kid has won in just about everything he's sat in. And there's a lot of people had their eye on him for quite a while as he's won 2 ARCA Midwest Tour titles.
He is chomping at the bit. He is hungry for that lead. You can tell he's just got to be patient for a little while here. He's got a faster car than Josh Williams right now. He's going to be able to make the pass if he can keep his head on straight around these lap cars.
We were talking about those first-time winners. Obviously, Josh Williams got it rolling at Nashville. Then Christopher Bell won at Salem, Gustine at Talladega, and Myatt Snyder at Toledo. So 4 consecutive first-time winners in the ARCA Racing Series this year. Majeski hoping to add his name to that list, but also doing it in his first ever career start, and that's quite an accomplishment.
Bell and Snyder did it this year on the short tracks at Salem and Toledo. Could we see another first-time winner in the ARCA Racing Series in their very first start? You know, Alex Bowman did it here at Madison International Speedway, and that propelled him to greater success as well.
You know who's starting to creep into the picture in the back of that shot, guys? Da-da, da-da, da-da. That black car's starting to come to life as these laps wear on. Ty Majeski's got to get that passed on Josh Williams done, or he's going to have his hands full with Kyle Weatherman in short order.
Williams also one of the drivers telling me that they did a lot of runs on old tires. They brought 40-lap tires to begin practice with yesterday, then went through another set of tires. So he is for Chief Danny Johnson playing the game of how is this car going to be when those tires are worn out and greasy and heated over running on this slick racetrack.
You see at the top of the screen, that is your Sioux Chief running order. Williams the leader, then Majeski, then Weatherman, and you can see the differential in the black box above their name of how far back they are from our leader right now. But I believe you're right, Spencer. I think that 98's starting to get a little better groove, and pretty soon we're going to have a 3-car race right at the front of this field.
Lap by lap, that Mason Mitchell Motorsports machine is it's waking up, and Ty seems to have slipped back a little. He had a really great run at Josh Williams about 5-8 laps ago, but I think he may have burnt up his front tires a little bit trying to get it done, and he may have to take a couple laps and cool it back down before we can make another attempt at it.
You get credit to Williams knowing exactly where the 17 car has been so strong on the bottom. That's where Josh Williams has been racing the last 7-8 laps, and that's not where Majeski wants him. Majeski wants to get a peek, and Williams has been shutting the door by looking in the rearview mirror, listening to his spotter, who's watching where Majeski's been running.
Absolutely. If you're Williams, all you've got to do is disrupt his momentum just a little bit as the leader, and you can make sure that you stave off that run pretty good.
When we looked at our lockdown shot that time, it appeared to me that the 17 made a better run through the corner. No question about it. Josh Williams was up about 1.5 feet off of there. Majeski tied right down to that yellow line, but guess what? The differential has stayed pretty much the same between 0.3 and half a second there between the 6 and the 17.
It looks like Ty's having to run a little bit of a different line right now. It looks to me like he's taking a little higher entry and making a later cut down the corner, trying to get himself a straighter drive off. Drive off so important here at Madison International Raceway. On old tires, sometimes you won't get to wide open throttle until you're almost to the scoring pile and halfway down the backstretch.
That's the voice of Spencer Gallagher. He had a great run last night in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and he's 1 position out of the chase right now. How are you going to get into that top 8?
Well, it's real simple. We're going to win, man. We're going to take our Legion Travel Chevy, put it up front every time we can, and get ourselves into that chase this year.
Well, you've done a great job this year. Sure nice to have you with us here. You're watching the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. We're at the Madison International Speedway. It's the Montgomery Ward Father's Day 200. We're 143 laps in of 200 today. Today's Montgomery Ward Father's Day 200 is the 4th event of the ARCA Short Track Challenge, sponsored by Protect Plus. Glad to have you with us back at Madison International Speedway. 3 different leaders today. Josh Williams came to life after our round of pit stops, and he has had a nice run ahead of Ty Majeski. Once again, Ty making his debut in the series, driving for Rouleau Brothers, and Ty is from Seymour, Wisconsin, and an awful lot of Majeski t-shirts in the grandstands today. I know if he'd be able to get up there and give a run to Josh Williams, this place is going to come alive.
And you guys want to talk about a great hometown crowd. When Ty moved into second and started chasing down Josh Williams, almost every single fan down here was out of their seats cheering him on. Great to see that show this morning.
Right now, County Potawatomi also sporting that team. Montgomery Ward is on that car. It's one of the county brands. It's a Wisconsin-based company that's brought on the Montgomery Ward name. There's a lot of Badger State support for Ty, not only the stands, but on that race car as well.
I can't quite figure out what's up with Kyle Weatherman. What's your thoughts here, Spencer? Because he was absolutely waxing the field, had lapped all the way up to about 6th position. We have our pit stops, and he comes back out, and we get a restart, and he drops back a bit, and now he can't close in on the leader at all.
You know, I was just wondering the same thing. I did not see them put a wrench into the back of that car into that pit stop. If I was Kyle Weatherman, I would have told him not to touch it, but it seems that he's kind of hanging out in 3rd right now, and the front 2 of Josh Williams and Ty Majeski, they're gapping him a little, so I'm kind of confused what might have happened to Weatherman's car. Maybe a little too tight right now.
Here we are back to the battle for 1st and 2nd. That's Majeski in that number 17. They're going around A.J. Fike. Again, Fike had an engine change after practice yesterday, so not a great run for the 2017 today. But there's that differential back to Weatherman from 1st to 2nd. And as they go by the start-finish line that time, Weatherman is 2.1 seconds behind our leader.
And now we're 41 laps into this run, so this is when the tires should wake up, when the chassis should be running exactly where Mason Mitchell Motorsports wants it. Something's missing. The change, however, we should give some credit to the cars ahead of them. Williams and Majeski now are still at a 19.5-second lap time. That pace is steady, and they are very much in part of it. When the race was the long green earlier, I was clocking the 98, consistent 20-second, even 20.1-second laps. So as the tires wear, the pace is actually picking up for these 2 years on the 98 7.
And our Menards pole presented by Ansel, the time on that was 18.14. So not a lot of drop off on these tires, but no matter what, happening the same for all of these guys. So that's what makes me wonder about what kind of adjustments were made.
Well, I promise you guys, it might not be too much on the stopwatch, but it feels like a chasm to these drivers. Every single one of them's coming on the radio saying, you got to do something about this. I got no grip. But that's just racing here at Madison International Speedway. That's what makes it such a great track, is how little grip it has.
Last time this surface was redone, I believe they said was in 91.
And then that sounds about right. There was dirt on the track for 2 or 3 years as well. As a dirt track, the old USA Sprint Car Series ran here.
I don't know if you know this, but it snows a lot up here in Wisconsin, too.
It does. It does. Weathering this racetrack is also part of the factor, and some say the charm of Madison International Speedway.
With all those cracks and patches on the surface, you don't say.
What a great run for Josh Williams. And, you know, we came into the beginning of this season, went to Daytona, and everybody said this is going to be the year where Josh finally gets a chance to break through. He has a 19th place finish at Daytona. Didn't go well at all, but he said, you know what? We can fix that. We'll just go to Nashville and win. And he did just that. So again, Josh Williams, the only driver in today's field with a victory so far this season.
And really it comes down to consistency. Last year he was on it. He was winless, but he did everything else. In 2015, he had 15 top 10 finishes in 20 races. The average finish in those 15 races inside the top 10, 5.6. So this young man learning to do what he can. Adding Danny Johnson as the crew chief has taken Josh out of the double hat role. They discuss a lot about how to change things, but Danny's the fact checker, leaving Josh to be the driver at this point in the race.
Looking back at Majeski, he is running in second. There we go back to Williams. You know, when we talk about Josh Williams, he said to me at the very beginning of the season, he said, we need to get through the big track races without any big major problems, go short track racing and put pressure on whoever's the leader, whether it's a 77 or who else we've got to run. Well, guess what? We went to Michigan. They had a problem in the rear end. They finished 20th there. So they haven't been able to accomplish that, but today might be a day for them to pick up some points.
It's a banner day so far for Josh Williams and that Musselman Chevy. You know, one of the most heartwarming stories in the ARCA garage, Josh Williams. This is a team that goes without a lot of the funding of the big organizations, but it's a scrappy bunch of guys, and they pull together and make magic every weekend. And when you come to a short track like Madison International Speedway, where it really showcases a driver's skill, guess who shows up every single time? It's that number 6 of Josh Williams Holiday.
No doubt that he's a fan favorite. As we look back at Kyle Weatherman, Weatherman had been out front for quite a while, but that differential between Majeski and our leader Josh Williams just isn't changing much, maybe actually even getting a little bit wider right at this moment.
Just a little bit. Seems to be holding steady somewhere between 0.8 and 1 second, but Josh Williams is starting to catch some traffic right here, so he's going to need to get through it pretty quickly, or Ty's going to be right back all over his back bumpers.
And as the pace continues here, the number 17 of Majeski running in that second spot. Just finished up his junior year at UW-Wisconsin, UW-Madison, as a mechanical engineering student, and a whole lot ahead of him in the bright future.
We're getting a lot of reports from the spotters that there is some oil on the track as the 9 car continues to smoke. That's the DK locked Ford of Thomas Prater. Ran into the back of the number 10 of Ed Pompa on the very initial start of today's race, caved in the hood there, and that has definitely been a problem for them. But a number of drivers saying the track getting really slick as they're behind the number 9.
Yeah, that's unfortunate to see. That sickly blue smoke coming out of the tailpipes, that is engine oil burning, unfortunately. Number 9's got a problem somewhere in one of its cylinders, and just hope that motor hangs on and doesn't put oil down on the racetrack, because that would be very unfortunate for our front runners here, but something's clearly wrong with Thomas and Ford.
And we see the number 6, that black and orange machine, our race leader, putting a lap back on Tom Hessert in the number 25 Toyota for Venturini Motorsports. Hessert had gotten the free pass. He then passed his teammate Nicole Behar for 5th, but now in the car, as the handling has gone away again on Hessert, the veteran out of New Jersey. He's He's now back into 6th, 1 lap down as Majeski works to the outside of that white number 25.
You know, guys, an interesting thing to note today, we talked about the strength of these Venturini cars coming into the race. They've had such a great record here, but it doesn't seem like any of the Venturini cars have had the speed to keep up with our front runners all day.
I think Bihar had a good enough car at the beginning, but after that slide through sideways, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but she has not been that competitive. But look at this. We've got a really good battle now as second heats up. The number 98, because of that lap traffic, has come right up on the rear bumper of Majeski, and he makes contact. They come out of turn number 2, and after Majeski gets sideways, the number 98 of Weatherman says, I'll try to give you some space, but the hole is open, and Kyle Weatherman going by for second position here at Madison.
Kyle said, excuse me, pardon me, coming through, time to go.
The old bump and run. It takes an entire lap here in Madison under these conditions to get that lap completed, but smart move on Majeski's part. I'm here to run all the laps. I'm here to do well. I'm not here to crash. I'm not here to say what I should have done, could have done. But wow, the 98 goes way wide after contacting turn 3 and 4.
You will notice he went wide after passing that 9 car, which has been smoking for some time now. I don't wonder if he's beginning to lay oil down on the racetrack and disrupt his fellow competitors there.
Thomas Prater has run every race this season, so wanting to stay in the points, so I'm sure they've been continuing to plead their case of let us run all the laps as long as we can. But ARCA officials certainly keeping an eye on that.
Kyle Weatherman's car looks to be a bit tail happy coming off of turn 4. Now this time off of turn 2 looks more true to the line, but he again was a bit sideways, so perhaps handling going away a bit after he worked so hard to get to Majeski and make the pass.
Weatherman has gone by Majeski, and he now is in second place. For an update on him, back to the pits and Charlie.
Thanks, Ray. Just talked to Mason Mitchell on the pit box. He said Kyle Weatherman reported the car was a tick tight in that first run, so they loosened him up. That car right now just started to come into him with about 25 laps to go. Kyle Weatherman almost ready to make a charge for the win, running out of laps to make it happen.
What's your thoughts on that, Spencer?
You know what, guys? It makes perfect sense what Charlie was talking about. Kyle Weatherman's car is starting to come to him clearly. He's beginning to catch Josh Williams lap after lap here, and you know what's doing that is the fuel in that tank burning off. As that rear weight starts to come out of the car, the weight percentage total starts shifting to the nose, and that makes the car tighter. So if you were a little loose to begin with, all you got to do is give it 50 laps, and it'll come right to you. So that's what Kyle Weatherman's getting right now, and he's starting to wind down Josh Williams.
Green, green, green is what it's been so far today here at Madison International Raceway, but a yellow is coming out.
Including.
That involves the number 98, who was running in second. Ed Pompa got sideways, and Kyle Weatherman goes around. So the yellow is out. We were just getting ready to go to a commercial break, but we wanted to put a hold on that because the guy who was challenging in second position gets involved in the spin.
Damage on the right front fender, too, on the 98. He may have to come to pit road no matter what.
Now, let me ask you this.
2 tires left.
You got some tires.
2 tires left.
Pits.
There's only about 5 or 6 cars in the lead lap, guys. So Kyle Weatherman only went back to 4th place, even with that spin. So if he's got a 20-lap weapon left in that car, he may need to find out now.
Right front fender is what they're going to be working on. If they do indeed change tires, they'll have to look at it either way. You see the headlight bashed in there on the number 98 from the contact with Ed Pompa's car as he spun off at turn number 4.
And Kyle Weatherman's car, one of the steel body units. Of course, we've got a number of the brand new 5-star composite bodies in the field today, and everyone's saying you need that 100-pound weight brake, which ARCA gives you if you're going to run the composite body. But the 98 team brought this race car because they said it's lightning fast on the short tracks.
You know, sometimes it's worth it to take a weight break. Other times, you just got to know that you got a fast car and you got to go to the track with the best piece that you got.
So here's what happened as we were looking at turn number 4. There's the 6, that's our leader, Josh Williams. The 10 of Ed Pompa coming through the center of the corner, and a little bit of contact there. It looks like maybe Weatherman just got just a tiny bit in a hurry to go around the 10, and the 10 came up off the bottom line.
And Ed Pompa wanted to get out of the way, but as he went down, he went too far down on the racetrack without an apron and bobbled the car into turn number 3 and caused him to go up the racetrack.
And, you know, all it takes at these kinds of speeds when you're closing on these lap cars, excuse me, as we go to pit road.
Look at this, all of them coming in. Josh Williams in the 6, we see the 17, and they are going to go to the pit road. So let's check back in with Charlie and get an update on our leader, car number 6. All right, so we had a problem once again with the mic. We apologize for the technical difficulties there, but Josh Williams going with right side tires. The same thing for Weatherman. Nicole Behar came in, and they have a problem on the number 17 on pit road. Looks like they're going to work on the right rear for Ty Majeski, trying to make a big adjustment. So we'll set the lineup once again as we're inside of 20 laps to go here at Madison International Speedway. Your leader, once again, is Josh Williams. Montgomery Ward Father's Day 200 continues. We had the big question, will they pit again? We've answered that. Tires on for our front running cars, and a major adjustment for Ty Majeski in the Potawatomi number 17. He will restart 4th, and he is the hometown favorite. Josh Williams has had a dominant car on the long runs. Kyle Weatherman right back in it as he will restart beside Josh Williams. And guess what? Don't count out Nicole Behar. She's in 3rd.
Guys, I tell you something interesting that's occurred to me. Every restart so far we've had in this race, the guy on the outside lane has been able to take the lead off of 2. So it seems that Josh Williams has chosen the inside. I hope he's comfortable with that decision, because right now history is not playing in his favor, and you know Kyle Weatherman's driven to get back to the front.
And to give you an update, Chase Briscoe, our point leader, who was up in the top 5, came in for an adjustment and a tire change there. They left the wrench in the window, left pit road, so another mistake by the crew. He had to come back down pit road, and that'll put him back a couple of spots. So the 77 getting a penalty.
And to serve that penalty, he has to be at the very tail of the field. Leave that cars ahead of him. All get to start at the front of this one.
All right, here we go. They're lining up. We're getting ready to count this thing down. Josh Williams has been really strong, but can Weatherman get another run? They're in the restart zone. We're back to green flag racing, and Josh Williams gets a nice restart. He'll be the leader going down into turn number 1.
Great jump for Josh Williams. That's exactly what he needed to do to hang on to this race.
Nicole Behar trying to put a challenge on Weatherman. That 55 down to the inside, and look at Majeski trying the high side at car number 17. They're slipping and sliding out of turn number 4. Everybody stays in position the same way they crossed last time.
Put Nicole Behar to 3rd place and trying to make the move on Kyle Weatherman.
Majeski with that huge adjustment in the left rear. It looked like they may have put a spring rubber in that race car, made some kind of a change that took them a long time on pit road. We'll see if that car can come to life, but guys, we're running out of time with about 12 laps to go.
Everyone's staying steady for right now, but Nicole Behar, such an up and down day, but she has really recovered. Running 3rd right now. Best female short track finish like you see, 3rd there.
Chasing history in her debut. It could be her only ARCA Racing Series start, but others are taking notice as well. They're at home watching, they're here at the racetrack watching. She is certainly proving herself of another chance here in the ARCA Racing Series.
She's been doing a lot of late model racing this year. Said she will definitely run some K&M Pro Series West events towards the end of the year. But as of right now, Toyota giving her this one shot, and she's made a nice run of it today, currently running in 3rd. Now, can Majeski make a run? Guys, I'm telling you, with inside about 10 laps to go now, I'm not sure it's possible.
If he's going to do it, he needs to rip open his fire suit and reveal the big Superman S on there, because he is running out of time, and he's in 4th place.
And Nicole Behar has a very fast Toyota ahead of him in that number 55. So in terms of making ground, you've got to pass a really fast car to get there. They appear to me about equal here down the backstretch at Madison.
Josh Williams, the leader. Again, our only driver in the field that has a win in 2016, trying to go for the 2nd one of the season. Right now, Weatherman trying to cut him down in the differential, but it's not changing much.
Josh Williams is picking right back up where he left off this last run, keeping a nice steady gap to Kyle Weatherman, who is just driving the life out of that car. You can see right now, Kyle Weatherman is giving it his all to get to that back bumper of the 6.
Williams led the majority of the Nashville race because he had better tires than anyone else. He's on equal plane here. There's no luck involved in lucking into this victory. Williams has taken control of this race from lap 115 forward, including a pit stop we had just moments ago. Josh Williams on pace to win his 2nd race this season. He's been in the series since age 16. He knows, after all this time, lapping after lap, getting that notebook built, getting the confidence. This young man certainly proving championship worthy here today at Madison.
But a little bobble off of 4 there. He's got to be careful. We might only have 5 or 6 laps left, but Kyle Weatherman is still right there on his back bumper. Any false moves from Williams, and Weatherman will be there to pounce.
Chase Briscoe back in 6th right now. He's the ARCA Racing Series point leader as we came in. He's got a pretty commanding lead of more than 140 points as the day started today, but guess what? A lot of racing to go as we're not quite to the halfway point of the season.
Year-old Josh Williams leading 18-year-old Kyle Weatherman and 18-year-old Nicole Behar. Behind her, a 20-year-old college student in Ty Majeski. This youth movement in the ARCA Racing Series and these opportunities, not only on a national stage, but in these big heavy race cars, you are seeing the future, what we'll see on Saturdays and Sundays.
And guess what, folks? We'll have another short track race for you right here on the ASN next weekend as we head to Winchester Speedway. And boy, will that be some kind of show. You talk about fast.
One of the fastest half miles in the whole wide world. That's how they like to advertise it. And having gone around there, I can assure you it lives up to its name.
Now we have a little bit of a differential right now between the graphic at the top of our screen and the scoring. We need to try to get confirmation here from the ARCA Racing Series officials which lap we have completed here. And it's showing that we're on 198. So 198 is complete. We're on 199. So this time by, Josh Williams should be coming for the white flag here at Madison International Speedway. He does get the white. Williams goes down into turn number 1. Can Kyle Weatherman make anything happen in 1/2 of a mile? Josh Williams out of Port Charlotte, Florida, going for his 2nd win of 2016, and he is going to be able to hold on. Josh Williams is going to win the Montgomery Ward Father's Day 200 at Madison.
What an amazing effort by this number 6 team all day. Stuck in the top 5, did what they had to do, and towards about the halfway point of the race, they got up front and never let go. Brilliant effort by Josh Williams and that Musselman Chevy.
And how about Danny? The crew chief here has made a significant difference with this team, not only just about setups, but about Josh's attitude to say, let me be the driver and I can trust in what you're doing.
And they had a really good race car yesterday. As a matter of fact, Josh, Danny Johnson, the entire team sat out part of practice, sat in the grandstands together as other teams are throwing more at it. They said, we think we know what we have. We aren't going to wear our stuff out today. It's practice day. They didn't spend a lot of track time on the track. They knew they had a car to contend, and it made the difference at the end of this race.
Today's race was all about patience, and Josh Williams showed just that. He hung out exactly where he needed to be until it was time to strike. He put himself up front, and he never let go. Burn him down, Josh. You earned it.
He's doing a nice little burnout right here on the front stretch at Madison. Going to come up and get the checkered flag, and obviously when you're in Wisconsin, you got to do an Alan Kowicki reverse victory lap, and Josh is going to thread his way through the other competitors and take a backwards lap around this beautiful half mile.
What a great salute to Alan on Father's Day. That's great to see.
And Josh Williams' father, Kevin, his mom, Teresa, is so involved in this family deal. They're jumping out of their skin right now, no doubt, because Josh has proven this is what you need to spend your retirement on, Mom and Dad. He said it last year, and he's tapping that account right now saying, we need to finish this season. They're still looking for funding, but wow, what a deal today. Making everything they possibly could out of what they had. And it's a winning race car here at Madison International Speedway.
Not going to be a crazy jump in the points because Chase Briscoe finishes back in 6th position. But guess what? You got to chip away with it every chance you get an opportunity. And Josh Williams is going to get maximum points today. And as he will bring that Musselman's Applesauce Chevrolet down to victory lane, he is going to enjoy the spoils of his 2nd win of 2016. Great job from this young driver. Lots of confidence in that car. When we talked to him in the garage, they knew this race would have an opportunity for many long green flag runs, and guess what, guys? That's what we saw.
And the deal about what they had to work with is their own team. They have their own guys working with this effort. They have the ability. They do what they can with 4 full-time guys. We talked about it before, but saying it again, this is a huge victory for all the teams that say, I think I want to do this. They're proving they can do this.
Well, and here in the ARCA Racing Series, it really shows that the underdog can shine. If you've got the drive, if you've got the driver, and if you've got the right know-how, you too can put yourself up front and take home the checker flag.
Great effort by Josh Williams again, chasing the points, chasing a championship, finished 2nd a year ago on consistency. Now he's backing up with victories here as we're 9 races into the 20-race season this year.
I'm wondering how big of a bowl of applesauce they can bring out there. They might want to pour it down the back of his neck here, as hot as it was at Madison. Middle 90s today here in south central Wisconsin, and just a great crowd on hand for Father's Day. And it was definitely steamy out there, but he had a hot race car, and I'm sure we're going to hear from a number of these drivers. They're probably pretty well beat.
And you know, talking about a number of these drivers, Josh did an amazing job today, but let's talk about some of the rookies in our field making their very first starts. Nicole Behar finishing 3rd and Ty Majeski finishing 4th. What a great day for both of them that must have been, to be running up front with these experienced guys in the ARCA Racing Series.
My guess is that Josh Williams is going to climb out of that race car to the accolades of his crew and all the fans here at Madison, Wisconsin. So let's get down to Charlie Crawl.
Josh Williams in victory lane celebrating career win number 2. Josh, it was a tough one out there today, hot, slick. How did you get this thing in victory lane this afternoon?
Everybody from here to here, man. It's a group effort. I don't know what to say. We weren't even supposed to be here, to be honest. I have motor issues. We're not sure what it is. We chassis down before we came here. It's like 45 horsepower down, but you know, we figured we'd come to a racetrack like this. It really wouldn't matter so much, but oh man, I just wish my dad was here.
Great way to celebrate Father's Day, even though your dad's not here. I've got to ask you, being a little down on horsepower, could that have been an advantage today with the racetrack being as slick as it was?
Yeah, I think it could have been an advantage for sure. You know, the only thing is restarts. You know, you need power on restarts with those stickers. But, you know, my dad always taught me as a kid, be up on them restarts, and that was about the only chance I was going to have to get Weatherman. And Pops was in my ear from home. You know what to do. So, I mean, I just took advantage of that opportunity.
The little team that could is now the little team that will. This little team is going to celebrate tonight.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations. Win number 2 here in 2016 for Josh Williams.
Well, thank you, Charlie. So not a bad deal to have 9 races this time of the year and 8 different winners. But Josh Williams breaks our streak of a new winner. Congratulations to car number 6. And we'll hear more of your favorite drivers when we come back to Madison. You're watching the Montgomery Ward Father's Day 200. Madison International Speedway voted the #1 short track in the country a number of different years. They had a great crowd today as you were experiencing the Montgomery Ward Father's Day 200 here on ASN. So nice to have you with us. Josh Williams getting his 2nd win of the season. He had a very good car throughout the course of the day. They told us they'd be good on a long run, and they completed that. He did very well, but we also want to hear from the drivers who were 2nd and 3rd today, and they're with Charlie.
We are standing by with Kyle Weatherman, 2nd place finisher today. I see a lot of dejection on your face. It looked like you had this one right where you wanted it. What happened out there?
Yeah, it was a long race. That's for sure. You know, it was hot and sweaty out there, but you know, it was a fun race. You know, Josh did a good job on restarts, and I think I gave up a little bit there, and you know, and then we got in the lap car there at I think it was like 30 to go or whatever. So it was probably you know, a little bit my fault, but you know, just you know, that lap car drifted up and I got in the back of him, and that kind of just ruined it for us. So you know, good job to the Williams over there. They did a good job, and I can't thank Mesa Middle Motorsports and Roush Family Racing for everything they do.
It's been a lot of drama this week. Good to have you back behind the wheel of this race car. When are we going to see you next, do you know?
Hopefully Winchester. We got to put something together here, but hopefully we'll be back at Winchester, and hopefully we can get them there.
Best of luck to you when we see you next. We're going to step over here and talk to our 3rd place finisher. Look at the smile on this young lady, Nicole Behar. You finished 3rd in your ARCA Racing Series debut. You have to be ecstatic.
I'm absolutely ecstatic. I can't thank Venturini and Toyota enough for this opportunity. Love to be in ARCA car some more, and I just need to learn to pace myself a little better, but that also comes along with being in an ARCA car a little more.
I saw you get roughed up a little bit on one of those restarts. How hard was it to keep your composure after that happened, get back in your groove, and get back into the swing of things?
I had an awesome spotter for this race, and he just helped me. Being roughed up a little bit, I got to keep my cool, and it helps having someone in your ear calming you down, but couldn't thank them enough.
Well, it was a very impressive 3rd place finish for Nicole Behar in her ARCA Racing Series debut today.
No question about it. A good run today for a young lady as she made her debut in the series. I hope the Toyota folks watch that and give her another opportunity. We'll hear from more and wrap it up when we come back to Madison right after these messages on ASN.
For 48 laps of Salute to America, with the fireworks
A lot of the fans getting an opportunity to go down trackside and celebrate with Josh Williams as he's taking his Musselman's Applesauce Chevrolet back to victory lane here in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. We've got a lot of more ASN racing coming up for you. We'll obviously be back next weekend as we go short track racing at Winchester Speedway. Also Berlin in Marne, Michigan coming up. We'll go to the mile dirt tracks, and then we'll also go to Salem Speedway. So let's hear from the driver that most of the fans came here today to watch. He finished 4th, and that would be Ty Majeski.
Ty Majeski, an impressive top 5 finish in your ARCA Racing Series debut. Saw you mixing it up there a little bit. How was your first race in the ARCA car?
Yeah, I can't thank the Ruler Brothers Racing enough for giving me a great piece. We came into this thing not knowing what to expect. They haven't raced in a while, and this is, of course, my debut in an ARCA car. And overall, can't complain. We ran in the top 3 all day. Had a pretty good race car. Felt like we had pretty good short run speed after that first 4-tire stop. Felt like we were a little bit better in the 6th, and he was just a little bit better on the long run. And we were just fighting tight off. And made too much of a change there on that last pit stop, and just didn't have the drive off the corner to go there and compete with them.
Just some of those things that you will get with more experience in these heavier cars. How does that compare so far to your late model?
It's obviously way different. You know, I had to break all my Madison habits that I had coming in here. Saving brakes is a big deal, especially at this racetrack with the tight corners. And felt like I did a pretty good job managing it. We had all the brakes that we needed at the end, just didn't have the drive off, and that all goes to me given I need to give better communication next time, and I'll learn.
Not a bad debut. Ty Majeski finishing 4th here this afternoon.
Big smile for him today. I know they were thinking they might have a shot to win, but obviously a top 5 in your debut, a nice effort today. It was a really hot afternoon here at Madison, and Josh Williams put on a show, a pair of Chevrolets at the top of the official running order today. Williams trying to gain a little bit of run on Chase Briscoe, who finishes back in 6th position. So once again, Josh Williams in victory lane, and we had a great day today thanks to all the crew that brought the action for us. Those cameramen out in the heat all day, we appreciate their effort. Thanks to our director Gary Clem and our producer Dan Patton. Josh Williams in victory lane, and we give our congratulations back to that Musselman's Applesauce Chevrolet. Thanks again for joining us here on American Sports Network, the ARCA Racing Series presented Menards. It goes all across the country, 20 races and 18 different tracks. For Charlie Kroll and Spencer Gallagher and Jim Trado, I'm Ray Dunlap saying thanks for joining us here. Hope you all had a super happy Father's Day. More ARCA racing coming up your way on the American Sports Network. ASN, your racing, your sports.